What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old what humor, man.
What humor, man. It's been a while, man. It's been like a week plus since our last podcast.
Yes, I've been away.
Yes.
But in the meantime, we did have a podcast with the bug expert, the cockroach expert, Fu Mao Sheng from the LKY Natural... LKY, sorry, not LKY. Li Kongqian, LKC, Natural History Museum, right?
Li Kongqian, National History Museum. But yeah, where have you been, man?
I was away in Taiwan, on a family trip. Amazing,
Amazing.
Very good, 10 days to Taiwan, heading out there and everything.
And how's the weather like?
That's the crazy thing. I went there thinking that it'll be nice and I'll get away from the Singapore heat. It was as hot, if not hotter, at certain points in Taiwan. Yeah, so I literally got sunburnt. I got heat exhaustion. I was like cursing and sweating, and my in the immortal words of what's his name? The MMA fighter. My balls were hot.
Oh, Derek Lewis.
Derek Lewis.
But did you pack any like sweaters and all?
I had long pants, so on certain days I was wearing long pants when it was hot as hell.
Is it?
So June in Taiwan is like Singapore.
And humid also.
Humid also, same. Yeah.
Actually, Singapore the past week rained quite a bit, no?
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was quite
it was so hot there, I was dying, man.
Yeah, it's rained more in the past week, I think, than the previous month.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought I read stuff that it was going to be really hot.
It would be hot in the afternoon. But at least in the morning it'll be rain, it'll be cloudy,
Oh, crap.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
Oh, I shouldn't have gone to Taiwan. I should have just stayed here and enjoyed it. No, obviously not. Fuck, man. Yeah.
Oh, but as we are speaking, right, if we are recording on the late morning of Monday, 3rd July, Parliament is sitting right now.
Yeah, on the Redoubt Road issue.
Yeah, right. As it being one of the many issues being discussed.
Yeah. I've been following. I didn't stop following it even when I was traveling. I had a lot of downtime. I did not say downtime, but I was in the car a lot.
Oh, so
I was
you're
reading a lot about Redoubt and everything. So yeah, I think there's a lot of all the naysayers and opposition supporters have a lot to say about it.
Yeah, because I remember looking at the parliamentary paper yesterday for today's parliament. The first 23 questions are all dedicated to Redoubt. Yeah. And we were also discussing, is Redoubt not Redoubt?
Redoubt,
But I'm just going to keep saying Redoubt.
I know, I like saying Redoubt. There's something poetic about it. Like, will he ride out this storm?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas Redoubt feels like, it's just another word. So Redoubt.
Yeah, let's just keep the Redoubt.
Let's keep the Redoubt. But that means probably some point this week, we will need to unpack everything that's been discussed in a podcast.
As always, I think, people have asked us to talk about this, but then as always, we want to wait a little bit for the stuff to evolve, all these more things to be unearthed, and then we talk about it. A bit like the submersible. The moment we published it, then they found out that the submersible had already imploded already. Right? Yeah.
I mean, there was stuff that came out last week, but we are back in Singapore now.
Yeah.
So we will be covering it. We will be covering it. We already saw people posting on our Reddit, so don't worry. We will be covering it.
Yeah.
We do have interesting topics to talk about today. But before that, Terrence, any epiphanies from Taiwan that you would like to feed into the plug for today?
Yeah. Coming from one of the more interesting democracies of the world, right? Taiwan. Democratic political structure and everything. I think it's super important. Conversation is important. Talking is important. So that's what we do here on this podcast. And we talk about things and take different perspectives. And if you're new here, it might take a while for you to warm up and get with the program. But yes, we do talk about very interesting things that impact your life every day. And we'll make you a more interesting conversation starter at a party. Right?
What do you think people will take a while to warm up? Don't you think we are charismatic enough right from the get-go? People will be like, boom, I fucking love this podcast.
No, it'd be kind of arrogant of me to think so, right? Like the fact that anyone who sits in a conversation between us should find it interesting straight away, don't you think?
True.
Right.
Like this past weekend when you were away, I gave a talk at the Scape for...
Wow, flex here, flex, give a talk.
I'm going to be posting on LinkedIn about it soon.
We didn't even talk about talking about this thing.
No,
I'm
coming to that. Because I chose one excerpt to play at the start, and I realized that the excerpt was probably not the best excerpt.
What was the excerpt?
It was the one where we were talking about why you say I think swearing makes me edgy. And I introduced our podcast as something that we talk about politics with comedy. And I played that clip. Then halfway through, I was like, fuck, I don't think they're getting the juice of the podcast.
And were they underage or
Oh, no lah.
Then how old were they?
Like adults lah.
Oh, adults
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't like young people.
I mean youth lah. But when you say underage, it conveys a very different thing. You think I'm giving talks to 12-year-olds, is it?
Yeah, I thought it was.
No, okay, we have
teenagers.
given talks to 12-year-olds.
Yeah,
that's true.
And
but this one was adults who are interested in podcasting
at
Scape.
Okay. Of all the great examples, we've had ministers on this podcast. We've had Xiaxue. You brought up that example.
Yeah. The one when you were away and I could finally talk by myself at a public forum.
Fucking must have been liberating, right? Suddenly released from the shackles of logic.
Exactly. Can just say whatever I want. But yes, we do have a first topic for today.
Yeah.
Which was something that was first talked about in Parliament back in January 2023. But today, 1st July actually was when this law kicked in. And it is this clause that assumes that presumes you are guilty for high-rise littering unless proven innocent. Yeah, and that was announced in Parliament on January 9th. And now it has kicked in. So I mean, I knew there was talk about high-rise litter and some new policies over the past few months, but I didn't know it was this. Were you aware of this already before?
No. I mean, I was aware that there were discussions going on about how to catch high-rise litterers more. But now seeing the mechanics of it is quite minority report, right? It makes me feel like, wow, we're moving closer and closer to that dystopian reality.
Yeah. So basically, at the high level, what I understand is once NEA, the National Environment Agency, deems that a littering act has happened, they will issue like something to the owner of that flat, and the owner has 14 days to
dispute, right?
To dispute if they are not the ones committed. So if you are away, as long as you can show like airline tickets and all that, you can explain any missed disputes. If you are old or young, there's also a certain different framework for charging. And if there are multiple owners of the flat, everyone will be presumed guilty unless you are proven. So if you are leasing the flat, if you're leasing the flat, it will fall on the owner. If you and say your partner, your wife are co-owners of the flat, both of you will be presumed guilty.
Is it? I thought you could be liable, not necessarily that everyone's guilty. It's kind of like, my guess is a bit like an honor system where they have your, if you are driving a car and then you break a law or something like that, they'll send you the thing, but they'll say also, if you are not the driver who did this, you can submit their particulars for it as well.
Correct, but that means you need to dispute because based on this, every registered owner of a residential flat or tenant, if the flat is leased in its entirety, will be subject to the presumption clause.
Subject to the clause, but not necessarily presumed. Not that all are guilty at the same time.
But you're presumed.
You can be presumed guilty.
So it's almost like one of you fucked up.
Yeah, you go and fight amongst yourself.
But then if you don't dispute, then what?
Then the owner.
But if there are multiple owners?
Then both of them.
So that's what I'm saying.
Okay, no, because the tenant issue.
So if you rent out just one room, it still falls on the owner. If the whole flat is leased in its entirety, it will be to that tenant, not the owner. But if you are living in it with a co-owner, some shit falls out the window.
The owners,
both the owners will be presumed guilty unless disputed. So when you say minority report, why you say minority report, Terence?
Oh yeah, there's so many.
You know what the word minority kicks up in me, right?
I know. Yeah, that's why I want to make sure. It's a Tom Cruise movie from the late 90s or 2000s, where basically I think there's something called thought crimes or something like that. That means there are people or beings that can look into the future and see crimes before they happen. And so it's the job of certain police officers to interpret these seances that they get and then go and arrest the people for these pre-crimes that they commit. It means just the before they happen. So, then it brings up a lot of questions about this dystopian society in the future, where even just thinking of a crime, thinking a thought is a crime.
But this one, it's only when it is deemed to have happened already. And they said most of the time, video evidence is available.
Yeah. Okay.
And as recent as I think it was a few years ago, one of the more public cases of a killer litter was when there was a 74-year-old delivery driver who died after getting hit by a glass bottle from a party at a condominium.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if anyone lives in an apartment block, I don't know, like when I walk out from the void deck out, there's always a part of me that feels like, okay, this might be the last few steps of my life.
Yeah. So, I say Minority Report in the sense of like very extreme surveillance that's going on. Of course, there are better examples, but I think the idea also is the presumption of guilt, straight away. The idea there is very, very interesting, because everyone said you should presume someone's innocent until they're proven guilty. So this one kind of flips on its head. So it's an interesting discussion.
That's what they tell you as for people also, right? Don't assume someone's an asshole. Give them the benefit of the doubt. And if they prove they're an asshole, then they're an asshole. Whereas this one is saying, give them a chance, but if they high-rise litter, they're fuckers.
Yeah. So I think that what they're saying is that cameras are all trained on the windows already. If something falls out of your window, we don't need to go investigate further about do you really kill a litter? Was there intent or anything? The fact that something came out of your window, we presume that you already committed this crime.
Because the process, from what I understand, pre-July 2023 was that, they deemed as killer litter, they would kind of try to determine who did it.
Yeah.
And even if they approach you, if they file you something, you can be, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. If you can't prove that I did it, that means I'm guilty. It's like crime.
Yeah.
If you can't prove I punched this person in the face, in the eyes of the law, you're not guilty, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this one flips it.
But so I think I've seen stills before, but that means there are cameras pointed at all the windows of every flat.
I think that was my question also, and from what I could find online, I don't think every flat has cameras straight off the bat. I think it depends on complaints. If there's a lot of complaints, then they install a camera.
Oh, I see. Okay. And then those cameras, I think they track like heat signals, a bit like the Predator kind of thing. I believe so, because I think I saw stills of people throwing cigarettes, and you can see that the cigarette has a heat trail and everything.
Because at night
Yeah. Infrared.
Oh, shit. So you got pretty sophisticated tech.
It must be. If not, how do they have to? It has to.
I
stand
thought they just get a high resolution camera pointed at a block of flats, and then anytime there's something that falls in, you zoom in.
AI. Clean up the image. AI.
Just ask ChatGPT. Can you observe this footage and tell me who was the culprit? Also, but it makes sense, if at night. Otherwise, people will just throw shit.
Yeah, or even. They're not even standing at the window smoking or anything. They're in the room. If they just throw it, you just fling it out your window.
Yeah.
How is anyone going to catch you, right? So it needs to be higher tech than just a camera.
But now that it's in effect. You also live in an apartment.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this? You think it's like, wow, we're going down dystopia?
I mean, that was my initial thought. But if you really think about it, there's too many loopholes there, right? In the law as it is, really. How do you catch people who really do kill it and then end up killing people for real, right? And I feel like this is probably a step to try and plug that loophole, to make it the onus on the people not to commit the act itself. But how about you? Are you subject to any instances of killer litter where people threw stuff?
Less killer litter. I think even growing up where we were staying at the first place, it was almost like people just hang out mops, and then it drips on your clothes and all that.
Cigarette butts?
Cigarette butts, no.
No, you haven't got that issue.
Yeah, thankfully haven't gotten that issue.
Yeah.
But I remember sometimes it's just random shit that flies in.
Yeah.
And I mean, I also faced the issue of incorrect determination of culprit a few weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Because there was some water stains on my window both in the bedroom and the kitchen.
Yeah.
Then it been happening for a while already. Then we just let it slide. Then one time at home, in the morning I came back from my exercise. I felt like jazzed up, and I saw the water coming. And I live on the 11th floor.
Yeah.
And there's only one floor above me.
Okay.
So then I was like, you know what? Fuck, man, this is bullshit. We live in a society. It's 2023. Can't people be civil? How can they be throwing things out of the window?
Yeah.
So I marched out. Even my wife told me, just relax out. I know. I want to go there, give them a piece of my mind. I go up, I take one step, I go to the same unit above me, and the door was open, like it's a corridor unit.
Yeah.
And I see like this family just awake, like got grandparents playing with a kid. Then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. If they throw shit out of the window, they deserve to be told off.
Yeah.
So I went there and I said, excuse me, hi, I'm coming from the unit right below you. They're like, oh yes, how can we help? I was like, are you all throwing anything out of the window? Because it's getting on my window and there's a lot of stains. They're like, oh no, it's the HDB roofing above us. Then I was like, oh, are you all getting it also? And they're like, yes, we are. Then I was like,
so you're the asshole?
Yeah, I was a fucking asshole.
You are the asshole, yeah.
I was an asshole.
Yeah.
And then after that, they even invited me in for coffee. And I was like, no, I'm so sorry, but I'm so sorry for this. And they just looked, then the mom, I think the grandma was at the door, and on the couch was the grandfather playing with like a 1-year-old kid.
Yeah, so you came in to ruin the day.
Yeah. No, but they were still nice. I think I apologized enough. I haven't seen them in the lift. Then I just walked back with my tail between my legs. Then I went back.
So what was happening actually?
They're doing the HDB re-roofing of the block.
So they're just washing
washing, and then because there's concrete, so some of the water there's some stains And I have seen the people re-roofing before, and I thought, wow, it's damn hot. Like it's kudos to these people for doing the work because there's no shelter, right?
Yeah. So at that point when you were very angry and all, if you saw that there was this law in place and all, you'd be very happy, right? To catch people doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So generally you're happy.
No. So that's where I had the same kind of thing with you. I was like, walao, like, do we really have to go down the path of assuming everyone is guilty? Why is it always as we progress, as technology advances, we are clamping down more?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, like my block of flats is only 12 stories.
Yeah.
Some of the new BTOs are like 40 stories.
Yeah.
Then it becomes a thing like, shit, this really can be killer litter. I can imagine if you're living on a 30th floor, it's just that much easier to throw shit out.
Yeah.
So, is this really a bad thing?
Yeah. I mean, probably the most recent example of using punitive measures to try and change behavior is tray returns, right?
Yeah.
And so far, what do you think of how effective tray returns have been in training Singaporeans to return trays?
I mean, I haven't noticed any difference. Maybe I haven't been looking hard enough. But I haven't noticed. Have you?
I mean, in general, people clear the trays, right?
But it felt like even before. No, you don't think so?
I felt like, before a lot of people didn't care and all that. I mean, I even have friends who also don't really return their trays. Yeah, but now they change their behavior because of it.
Is it?
Yeah, so in some ways, I think it'll take a while. It's not an instant thing where it'll take a generation or two where people have that civic mindedness to return their own trays. But for now, it's a measure that works to make everyone's life a little better.
So all those like dating parties for young singles to enforce tray cleanups and tray returns all.
You should still have that. But I'm saying that it helps to solve the problem almost like immediately, right? This is slightly more punitive.
So you're saying it's like a training of one generation such that it gets passed on to the next generation.
Where hopefully you don't have to actually institute laws. Because like I was in Taiwan recently, and there's a general, I think people are more receptive to just returning their trays on their own.
And there's no law or anything?
As far as I know, no law. But like you go to a cafe, it's a small family-run thing, and then people just leave like the those little baskets everywhere for you to put your own trays and then you'll see that people actually do clear the trash off those plates and then put them in the trays and everything.
And you see them like at like not restaurants.
Not restaurants, but small cafes, food courts, things like that. And not saying that everyone there is like more civic minded or what, but I think as a society you start to understand there's different stakeholders, right? There are these small businesses that struggle to hire staff to clean up a place, and you're like, okay, if I can just do it, it takes me like 3 minutes to do it. Why not? So in this case, like people living on the 30th, 40th floor, maybe they don't see the repercussions of their actions. Maybe what they need is a little bit more of a punitive action to get them to start thinking about it.
Well, it might be effective. It is a very morbid thought. Because you know what might happen next is I would imagine like for cars, at one point, you know, when there was more cameras looking at your car, people started installing cameras inside the car that looked out.
Yeah, correct.
Right. So can you imagine now every morning you wake up, you fucking turn on the GoPro at your window so that if there's an issue, you can dispute it.
Yeah. That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Then it just feels like, oh shit, everyone's watching everyone else. Which also on the car issue, the law for car, is it the same thing, presumption of guilt first?
Yeah, pretty much.
But how is that based? Is it always you must have like, there's some tech involved, there's a picture of your license plate.
Of license plate.
It's almost
clear.
Irrefutable.
It's quite irrefutable. There are enough cameras in place.
But can they see the driver as well?
No, so that's where it can sometimes some people, it's a little shady, right? Like people, there have been cases where people have gotten their parents to take the rap for them. That means they say that, it was actually the parent who was driving the car, and so the demerit points go to the parent rather than themselves. So you don't want to, there's a bit of a, but I mean, ultimately it's just a very, when you get caught speeding or anything, they just make it a very, very painful process for you, right? Big fine, demerit points, presumption of guilt straight away.
But I guess the difference there is that, like, not everyone has a car, but I mean, most people have or aspire to have a home.
Right? Yeah.
Maybe it's just the thought that there are all these cameras just pointed at these apartment blocks.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like, as opposed to, like, you know, the more luxurious landed living where people pay a premium for privacy.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you stay in an apartment, especially government apartment, you're going to be watched for your own benefit.
It's like those laws where you can't walk around your own house naked if people can see you. Right?
Then someone now got heat signature.
Yeah.
Then like fucking if they can track stuff outside your window, I mean, if you're doing stuff near the window, then also they can see lah.
Pretty much, yeah. So there's the act, there's the feel of overreaching also, right? When it comes to these laws, but it's kind of I guess that's the larger thing about it. It kind of encapsulates what living in Singapore is about, right? You give up some of these civil liberties, and then there is the feeling of overreach sometimes by some of these laws and all. But you know, you also don't get killed by killer later, Yeah, you don't get shot going to school or anything like that, right?
Yeah. Because I mean, it is damn sad. Like you think about like the delivery person, he sat down at the barbecue pit to have a break, and his wife and son were there.
Oh yeah, this is the one in the condo, right? I think they were having a party.
And a glass bottle hit him on the head.
Yeah.
And you just hear that, you're like, oh my god, there has to be something stronger in place to prevent this,
Correct.
But at the other extreme, the thought of all these cameras pointing at you while you're at home just feels a little interesting. I mean, even I find myself being okay with some sort of public shaming also, no? Like, you know, when they post black and white printouts of,
yes.
We have received complaints, and they show one unit.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, how do I feel about that? I'm like, if they really are littering a bunch, then it feels like, yo, man, we're all a team, you know? You want to litter, then it's just, it's just weird, I just thought of it as weird.
Yeah. Looking at this, okay, at least, to me, one thing is at least we're using technology to try to solve this problem, right? Whether it's cameras or at some point maybe there'll be like this force field outside your house. Then if something flies out the force field, they can calculate the trajectory and which window it came from and everything. That'd be awesome. That's the future. But what I'm afraid of is we reach a stage where somehow you're incentivized to report on your neighbor.
Snitch.
Yeah. I saw my neighbor do this. I got my camera at my house and it caught the neighbor doing this. And then you're incentivized to snitch and all. Then that's where it really creates almost like how it was back in wartime Germany and everything where people were literally snitching on each other for thinking.
Especially because the newer apartment blocks are all a lot closer together.
Correct, yeah.
So you have one GoPro at your window. Yeah. You're like, oh, this is my side hustle.
Yeah.
Because now there's also the one SG
app, right?
One SG app where you can complain or take photos and stuff like that.
But you don't want to live in an environment where, basically everyone's just suspicious of each other, so afraid of being caught by your neighbor or reported by your neighbor. And even if it's just, you suddenly get this letter like, you have to respond within 14 days. It's a hassle, right?
Yeah.
And very disconcerting to get that kind of letter.
The easiest thing, you just make your kid throw shit out of the window, your kid or your mom. Or your dad.
Oh, yeah.
Because
don't do it yourself.
Below 12, there will be no enforcement action. And advisory will be sent to parents to educate their children on how to dispose of litter correctly and refrain from littering. From elderly can provide supporting documents of their age. So if you want to throw shit out of the window, give it to your kid or a parent living with you.
Yeah. Or just make disposal easier, having the chute, in a much more accessible place and everything.
But then now a lot of the newer flats, the chute is outside the house, right?
Yeah, that's what I hear also. And cockroach issues and things like that, right?
Yeah, cockroach issues.
So it's I don't know, man. It's a tough one to this debate because, on one hand, I can see why it would be beneficial for general harmonious living, but at the same time, it can be a bit of a slippery slope,
because this might also be one of those things that they don't enforce on one-time offenders. It's just for the real troublemakers.
Yeah.
Because I think any crime, there will be people who do it way more than others on average, and it might just be hard to clamp down on these people.
Yeah.
But then it becomes a thing fucking one or two bad apples, you screw it up for everyone.
Yeah. But I mean, you think about it, at least you have 14 days to dispute it, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of whatever it is. Because I think, just to go back to the analogy of driving, a lot of times it's you're already presumed guilty and you got to pay the fine within a certain number of days. It's not even about, acknowledge within 14 days or anything like that, right? This one, at least, there's still
you can dispute.
You can dispute and you can go and call your lawyer friends and ask for help on how you can dispute this and all, I had a stomachache, I slipped and fell, and then I accidentally threw something out the window or something like that, whatever crazy excuse you can come up with. But you think about a lot of other laws and things that have come in place. Say, for example, POFMA.
Yeah.
You have to go to High Court to go and dispute something, that kind of thing. It's not like you can sit there and go and argue with the IMDA or the minister or whatever.
Yeah, immediately
it's like, you want to dispute this? Yeah, go and get a lawyer and go to court and dispute it. Yeah. So in some ways, like what you say, it could be something that's used to catch those really egregious acts of killer litter.
Yeah.
But and maybe that's where this 14-day period does cushion the blow a little bit.
But then suddenly it becomes like Trace Together 2.0. Because that was the thing, right? In the event of a police case, the government has the right to use your Trace Together data for investigation, right?
Yeah.
So suddenly this becomes another aspect that in the event we need some info, we can access it.
Yeah, imagine a knife that was used in the murder was chucked out the window and everything.
Yeah, that's why.
And then they'll call NEA, hey, we need to access this issue of literally killer litter, right?
Yeah. It feels like there's a movie or a TV show waiting to be made about this.
I think Singapore is
it's perfect, no?
We're like a Black Mirror society. We live in the Black Mirror universe.
Yeah. Where everything is watched and interesting. Interesting.
Well, yeah.
And I mean, the sad thing that also came up in the news recently is that the suicide rate in Singapore is the highest since 2000.
Oh, I see where you're going with this, and it's kind of morbid, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, it's just maybe it's a thing about high-rise living, These are the kinds of things
that you deal with,
that you have to deal with,
And SCDF officers jump kicking people off the ledges and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. So it's just interesting.
The reality of living in a very densely packed city, right?
Yeah. Then some more in parallel with what is being discussed in Parliament right now. The reality of living
in very, very big spaces. With a lot of greenery around you.
Both got pros and cons.
Yeah.
Both got pros and cons.
Only 2 stories.
Only 2 stories.
Yeah, don't worry about killer litter.
Correct. No cameras pointed at your house.
Yeah. But one debate about civic-mindedness to another debate about civic-mindedness again.
Yes.
We're on a roll. Correct. I think we're on a roll as uncles at the coffee shop complaining about other people's behavior.
This one. So at the National Stadium, I think for a few years already, there's been these public fountains, water just spewing with kids playing around.
Yeah.
Apparently, recently, there was pictures of grown men just wearing shorts showering at these fountains and I quote, washing their armpits and butts.
Yeah. But showering, you gotta define showering, like. Were they using soap and everything?
So there's no mention of soap. It was probably by one stomper or citizen journalist. And the pictures there, they don't look like they have soap.
Yeah. They're just like, it's water. They're just using water.
There's one guy in a position where you can tell he's targeting his butt.
Yeah.
I mean, his pants are still on.
Yeah.
But he's got his feet like more than shoulder width apart, bent a bit and like looking towards his ass.
Yeah. Correct.
So, if you were walking your dog along this and you saw those gentlemen doing that, would you feel like, hey, what the fuck are these people doing? Or like, oh, makes sense.
I know that particular fountain that where the photo was taken is right outside Kallang Wave Mall.
Yeah.
And it's one of those places that I always imagine, it'd be really fun for my kid to just run in, even if he's, just take off his clothes and just run in there naked and everything, right?
Yeah.
Because it's really a fountain that is just like in this waiting area in the middle of just outside the mall on a hot day and everything. It looks great. But yeah, so in that case, if you saw kids running around naked in this fountain, whether they're playing or washing or they just went to the beach or whatever, would you go and take a stomp photo of that and then like complain about it?
I mean, kids naked, no lah.
Oh no, okay, not about the kids naked.
If I take photo, there's a bigger problem.
Okay, if they're just wearing the underwear, running around and or what, swimwear, whatever.
Oh, yeah, that one no issue lah.
No issue lah, right?
Yeah, no issue.
So why is it when it's adults doing it, it becomes an issue?
But that's like saying if I were to like poop in my pants on the MRT.
Okay.
As a regular thing, I'm like, oh shit, I'm pooping in my pants again. The fact that I'm an adult and not a kid is what makes it like weird lah.
It's weird lah, right?
Yeah.
But the pooping happens sometimes uncontrollably lah, right?
Correct. But if a kid poops, if it's the same kid, take the train every day and maybe like every 5 trips he poops once, people will still be, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
You think if I take the train 5 times a week and I poop once every trip, you think people will react to me the same way?
No, but you were trying to hold it in really bad, but you just ate something wrong. It was vegan Tuesdays and then you just had some really greasy vegetarian Tuesdays, and you just had some really greasy fake meat and everything. And you just couldn't control it already.
Yeah.
No choice. It just happened to you.
But then wouldn't you think if it happens every Wednesday, where I'm like, oh shit, it's vegetarian poop day.
Yeah.
Cannot what? Like you would definitely look at it differently, right?
There means something wrong, right?
Yeah, something wrong.
But you say the same of the kid also, like, as they grow older, right? You wouldn't let them keep pooping outdoors or anything.
So I'm just saying that like seeing a person in underwear running around and showering at this fountain as a child is very different from an adult.
Yep, no, but that's why I'm like, so if a dad was running in with a child and he's hot and sweaty and everything, and he's also enjoying the getting away from the heat, that's not that would be frowned upon, or you would frown upon it. You would step up with that same righteous anger that you had going upstairs to your 12th floor and to scold the people. Is it?
I don't think I would frown upon it. Like when I look at this picture, I have my bigger question is not why are they washing their butt crack and armpits at this fountain, because to me that might happen, and there is a beach volleyball pit near this fountain.
Yes, yes.
Right, so maybe they wanted to spike the ball, they tripped, they fell, a bunch of sand got up their butt crack, and they just want to rinse it off. They're wearing their pants.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, okay, I don't think I'll make a fuss of it. My bigger question is, that guy is so confident to just be so open about washing his like butt crack in public.
I mean, he didn't.
He didn't take off his pants.
But yeah, he could be. I mean, he could be washing sand off his butt, off his clothes, right?
True lah.
Right, yeah. So that's why I'm like, wow, like, are we really policing even how adults like operate in a like a public fountain?
Public fountain.
Because it's not like the fountain water is like people are gonna drink that or anything like that, right? So it's there, and if it's a hot day, people want to cool off, why not lah? Like I think there was some references to a sauna. Like I think the hot springs,
Sembawang
there, where people were cooking in there and all that. That one different lah, right? Because you're putting organic material and products and all that inside the water that is commonly shared by everyone lah. So in this case, if the person wasn't using soap to shower himself and all, I'm like, why are we getting up their asses? I mean, pardon the pun lah. Why are we getting up their butt cracks about it lah, right?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, That's why I wouldn't say I would react as angrily as I would for other things. That's why I just thought it was more funny, if anything. Like
funny,
for them to be so open, like just almost showering.
Yeah.
But and also just this sort of water also, like, I'm surprised people are so open just using that to, like, there's one photo of the guy really putting his face in the direction of the fountain.
I've seen cleaners, like, they literally mop the floor and then they use the pail of dirty water. They just pour it back into like these fountains, these public fountains that we see around now.
Is it?
Yeah. So it's like, like what you said, the water is not exactly clean or like from a fresh source.
Yeah. So that's why it feels like it's almost like, okay, you want to do this, you go ahead and do, because it's not say like it's pristine water that people are using for drinking. Yeah.
But I mean, I have on occasion caught myself like I think there's fountains in my kid's very attracted to them, and then he runs towards them, and then I'm like, oh, like, should he be taking off his clothes and doing? Because for kids, they just love to do that, like, get naked and just run around in fountains. But a lot of times I'm like, I catch myself, I'm like, oh, is this the right thing to do? I get caught, will people come complain, all that.
Oh, so you think that for your
I do think that, yeah. And then I'm like, wow, we live in a place where your thoughts are always about, oh, are we breaking any laws by doing this?
But why? Oh, you mean it's a law?
Just by default, my brain, as a Singaporean, the first thing I always think is like, oh, are we allowed to do this at this fountain? Of course, coming from Ministry of Funny and the fact that jumping to the Taka fountain was one of the highlights of my
life.
How's it? Yeah. What do you feel about the fact that Singaporeans are so like afraid to engage with public spaces?
I don't know. I won't deny that every time, like, when I go for a run or something and I see like men running shirtless, right? I don't know why something about it annoys me.
Annoys you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, not to the extent that I'll tell them off, because I catch myself. I'm like, what is wrong if they are running shirtless? It really does nothing to me, but a part of me, and I don't know why.
Why?
Maybe.
Have you thought about it like deeper? Like, why?
I mean, every time when I'm running, I run past someone without a shirt. I would have like 5 minutes of thought, and normally I come to nothing.
But what I mean, actually, what's the issue? Like I get if someone's shorts are too short,
Why? Why is that the issue?
Because you see things, You see things when people's shorts are too short, right?
So that means you see things that you don't want to see.
No, like people's genitalia. Things like that, right? That spring out when they run, or even a lot of young people who wear very short shorts these days, right? Yeah. And sometimes I'm like, is that something that should be
covered?
Yeah, should cover up a little bit,
Because like it's something in you that feels like those parts should be covered.
They should be covered. There are laws against exposing yourself.
So is it law driven or like internal driven?
Internal, because of having explained to children, like, they don't do this kind of thing. Probably.
Okay, so without your kid.
Without my kid, I mean, probably I wouldn't bother as much, right? Yeah. But because there is a age appropriate times to talk about certain things in life, so I'm like, okay, you want to do it, fine, but there are people who do frown upon it.
So right? I'm saying like without kid, without kid, so at least it can be a bit more.
Oh, I know, the shirtless things for guys I don't mind. It's but strange if it's a woman, they're a bit strange, right? Obviously.
Yeah, talking about guys only. Because there's nothing wrong. Like at a beach, there's really no difference. But the moment you take a shirtless guy out of the beach and put him on like a park connector, right?
Yeah.
There's a little part of me is like, hey, why? You saw this is your house, is it? Then I'm like, why? So then my running whatever zen state I was in previously, I'm like, why the fuck am I getting pissed off at this? It really means nothing. And I haven't peeled back enough layers to figure out why.
So going back to this fountain thing, because these guys are half naked, you don't like it,
Hey, that's a very broad stroke, okay? That's a very broad stroke.
I'm trying to understand what irritates you about it.
What were we talking about? What brought up this thing about the shirtless? I think no, you were saying like
kids
when
public,
you think about kids, when you think about kids, like what is the reason? Is it law? And that's what I was saying. For me, there's something I don't know what it is.
Public nudity, you don't like that?
No, it's not that. I don't think I mind public nudity.
Yeah.
It's just maybe it's envy. It's like, hey, how come they are so comfortable and self-confident to do that when I can't?
Wow, we've reached a moment in the podcast where there is some self-actualization,
that's what,
self-awareness that Harish has discovered.
I don't know. Then I think back when I jumped into the Takashimaya fountain, did I feel a certain sense of emancipation or liberation?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, in that spirit, I'm like, I feel like we should engage with our public spaces more. As long as it's safe, right? And not indecent or anything like that. So if I see like dudes just going to, jump into a fountain to cool off, or even to some extent to wash off sand or whatever.
Yeah.
As long as it's not clogging up the drains or what, I'm like, why bear down on them, man?
So like I think for me, if they were spitting, then I'll be like,
body fluid,
body fluid.
Body fluids, cooking an egg or anything in there. That's that to me is like, then there's an issue.
But this one technically got some body fluids, right?
Correct, but like with anybody going,
it's not projectile.
It's
not intentionally projecting some sort of bodily fluids. If you pee, no. If you spit, no.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
No.
Wow. So this is where if there were cameras pointed at all these fountains,
it will help, right? Yeah, it will help. Then instead of killer litter, it'll be, I don't know, like a
killer body fluids,
stripper litter or some shit like that.
Yeah, but no, I think
cameras.
Yeah, when we were doing a lot of the on the street videos and all that, I think a big part that we have talked about it before. A big part of it was we felt like there was always this fear of being in public, right, in Singapore, and doing things in public spaces that I think we didn't really agree with, right, or we didn't enjoy that much.
And that's why we made videos.
That's
like that,
why, we went to the extreme of making videos of like doing really ridiculous things in public, right?
Yeah, now if we made those same videos, no one give a shit.
Yeah, because everyone's doing it on TikTok. Yeah. Doing backflips in rhino enclosures.
Everyone's doing it. That's true. Like doing a dance in public also.
Yeah.
And a TikTok video, whenever you see people doing it on pathways, everyone's just looking and all, but it's the norm.
It's the norm, yeah.
It's the norm.
It's the norm. That's a society that we helped to create this, basically.
You're one of the forefathers of making a fool of yourself in public. Nice.
So that's why we have this bias towards like, okay, if they want to go into the fountain, just go. What's the big deal, right?
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool, man.
But yes.
Cool. So, I mean, if you're new to this podcast also and you have certain thoughts on what we have said, head on over to our subreddit. There's always active discussion there.
Yeah.
So anyone, maybe old-time listeners who have thoughts on these two topics as well, please head on over there.
Yes.
But yeah, shall we move on to the one Shiok comment of the past week, I guess?
Yeah, been quite. What's your one Shiok comment?
My one Shiok comment was something posted on our Reddit 2 days ago by Suspicious Store 540. I think it's not a regular poster, so great to see someone post. And it was a YouTube video that Mr. Brown took back in 2009. Because in when Terence and I first met in uni, one thing that our Club Singapore organized when we were both on the committee was this thing called Diaspora.
Yeah.
Which was a bringing together of Singaporeans from Singapore and the US to come and give talks and all. And one of them was Mr. Brown. And he has a video of him looking at a screen where you can see me testing the mic at the podium.
Yeah.
And it was funny, and the person who posted it labeled it like, Harish's YouTube debut. But this video was uploaded 14 years ago.
Yeah.
I have no idea how this person came across it. So it was just a nice throwback.
It's on Mr. Brown's channel.
It's on Mr. Brown's channel, yeah.
Wow. Back there, that was
14 years ago.
Those are the days when everyone just uploaded random stuff on YouTube with no strategy, content strategy or anything.
Yeah, the resolution is shit. It was just him talking to the camera with a shitty camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my one Shiok comment.
Cool.
What about you, man?
My one Shiok comment was a comment about the podcast with Fu Mao Sheng, the cockroach expert, the cockroach, the researcher from the Natural History Museum. Rose__cat said, that was such a wholesome, uplifting episode about science. I really enjoyed hearing how Fu Mao Sheng is so earnest and enthusiastic about his work, which is great because I think some feedback, we got a lot of good feedback about that episode and people enjoyed it. I think Mao Sheng himself said a lot of people also texted him about it saying that they really enjoyed it and all. So yeah, I love it that we can get people who are not necessarily just influencers or or celebrities or on our podcast and have good discussions with them.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
It was, yeah.
And like it started off from us covering a topic, and then we brought the researcher here. So yeah, that was cool, man.
Yeah, we should do more of that.
Yeah.
We talk about,
Shanmugam and Balakrishnan, get them on the podcast.
I was thinking of other things, but okay, yeah, that works. We talk about Coldplay, yeah, we could get Chris Martin on here. We'll talk about his views about Coldplay Gate,
Yeah, man. Cool.
Yes.
And then the One Shiok Thing. My One Shiok Thing is a TikTok channel, so I'm gonna have to pull it up.
Okay.
Do you have yours?
In general, my One Shiok Thing is I do enjoy watching WWE wrestling, especially when I was younger, growing up during the Attitude Era and everything. But there seems to be recent years, because WWE got sold to Endeavor, the company that owns the UFC and all. And there's a lot of changes in leadership and Vince McMahon and the founder and everything. So a lot of the stuff has been focused on that aspect of the wrestling business. But I think recently there's one very interesting wrestler that has come forward and has like skyrocketed in popularity overnight. His name is LA Knight. And I was trying to, I haven't even been watching wrestling for a while, so I was trying to understand why is he getting so popular suddenly. And a lot of people are saying that he's not young. He's actually already 40 or 41 years old, and now he's just starting to get really popular. A lot of people are saying that he's a throwback to the old days of Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, where it was about talking trash to your opponent, being very funny about it, and very interesting catchphrases and stuff like that. So apparently, in the last 3 months, he's really skyrocketed in popularity. Everyone's wants to see him get a big push, and also we're at that cusp where he's about to get a big push in the company. And I think it's interesting. I always like following these stories of people who almost gave up on their careers, and then now they're getting at 40 years old, they're getting a second wind and everything.
So
and
he's been in wrestling for a long time.
And he's played a lot of shitty characters and jumped from company to company, and I think he's even been open about it in interviews where he thought that he thought of hanging up his boots during COVID and everything. He thought his career was going nowhere. Wow. But now he's suddenly being pushed as a main eventer.
He does look like that old school wrestler, man.
Yeah. So I've just been binging a little bit on his his promos that he does, and he's got that Stone Cold Steve Austin talk trash, The Rock, catchphrases and all that. So it's just fun to see it actually happening at this point.
40 years old.
Yeah. So I think he in interviews and his promos, he's actually very grateful that it's all finally working out for him. I think he really thought of retiring from the industry and all.
But he just lost the ladder match last night.
Yeah. WWE is all scripted, right? So it's not you win or lose. The bigger thing is that do they have a good storyline for you to build towards? I don't think it's that much about having to be the champion all the time.
Wallah.
But how are you able to tell a good story? Do they see you as a future, having a future in the company that they put in the resources to market you all the way to WrestleMania and all?
Shit.
LA Knight, do check it out if you're from the Attitude Era of wrestling and you haven't gone back in a while.
Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man. Cool. Okay, my One Shiok thing is a TikTok account I recently found. It's called Fritz Does Art.
Okay.
And basically, right, what this guy does, he would take a color swatch, like this cardboard card, of any color, random colors. He would put it in front of him, and from a bunch of paint tubes and paint bottles in his studio, he would make a color that matches that swatch exactly.
Okay.
So at the end, and you can see he'll first put black, then white, then blue, and he mix it with something like a spreader kind of thing on a piece of marble.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he takes one scrape and he applies the paint to that swatch, and you see it become perfectly the same color.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe it's because I cannot understand how someone can have that level of color recognition.
Yeah.
Also because I am color deficient, so whenever I see when someone,
is that a word? You cannot say color blind anymore. You must say color.
No, because color blind, I think I've had more than enough people tell me, color blind means you cannot see color.
Oh,
I'm no. I can see colors. It's just that the contrast and all is a bit hard.
Okay.
So even when you're cooking, like last night, I made lamb with my wife, and she asked me, "Oh, is it done yet?"
Yeah.
I don't think it's pink. And she's like, "No, it's pink." So I had to cook it a bit more. Then I always wonder, like, how can someone, what does it feel like to look and be very sure of what you see? And here's this guy, he just has his one, like teals or magenta swatch, and then he just makes it from scratch, and it's fucking mind-blowing, and that's why he has 9.4 million followers.
But if you are color deficient, then you watch the video, how do you tell that he's getting the exact color right?
Because at the end, he has, let's say, this blue card, he takes a bit of the blue paint, and he spreads it on, and you can't tell the difference.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So being color deficient, like, I might not be able to tell a purple versus a blue color pencil, but if you put them next to each other, I can be, oh, this looks blue, this looks purple.
Yeah.
But you take them apart, it's almost like I can't tell.
Yeah.
So this one, he did, wow, it's fucking mind-blowing, man. It's mind-blowing.
It's very poetic, right?
Yeah.
Harish Tilani, a man who sees in black and white, doesn't see the nuances, and now he appreciates a color swatch.
Oh, you mean I see the world in black and white?
Yeah.
I thought I just told you I'm color deficient. I'm not colorblind. I don't see in black and white.
It's an what do you call it? Analogy.
Oh, then you must say who sees the world in black and white themes.
Yeah.
Themes. Now more grey.
Yeah, more grey, man. There's a lot more grey going on. As mentioned, in Parliament, there's a lot of grey areas that people are talking about. So,
wow, yes. Well, this one is insane. This guy is insane.
Yeah. But what's it called again?
Fritz does art. I hope there's no color correction and all he does and all that.
I'm scared it's like some effect that they use.
I don't know. Like I mean, while I just believe it for what it is, it's great. It's great.
Okay, we'll take it.
Yeah, let me enjoy it. Let me enjoy it, Terrence. Okay. Cool, man. All right.
Cool.
It's good to be back.
Yes.
Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll talk to y'all soon.